Okay, greenhouse management, today we're going to have a little pop quiz just to see if you've been paying attention. Now, because of the very recent, pretty much lockdown order on staying at home except for essential personnel, a lot of people are really having to stay back in their homes and not be out. So we are still trying to keep these plants alive until we can do something with them. But I wanted today just to go through and let you guys see if you can remember what they were and some things about them. So we're going to start with this. Can you guess what this is? If you guessed a begonia, you'd be right. This is really a non-stop begonia. It's very pretty, puts out a nice little bloom here on top. I really like these. I like these better, these tuberous begonias, better than the smaller begonias that you see a lot at Home Depot and Lowe's and such. But these are very pretty, have very pretty color to them, and a good thing, they can handle just a little bit of sun. All right, so that was number one. Let's move on to number two. Anybody guess what this is? If you guessed a lantana, you'd be right, but let's be more specific. This particular one is going to be a Dallas red. The way that you can understand or realize that is because of the deep red color surrounding a yellow middle. Now, one thing that I really like about lantana is not only do they tend to take up a lot of area. So if you've got a big bed that you need to put something in, these lantana will do great for that. But also because they attract tons of butterflies. And I believe we said that in a prior video. But I want you guys to realize that when we talked about spacing and sun requirements, things like this versus the begonia that we just looked at, they're going to have two totally different spacing requirements. So when you're selling to a customer out of a greenhouse, you need to know what your plants are capable of doing. We're only looking at a few inches of space in between the begonias. With these lantana, depending on the variety, we're talking about multiple feet, because they might get up to, say, 4 to 8 feet wide, and sometimes about 4 foot or 5 foot tall. So you've got to have this space. If you put too many close together, you're going to have a problem. I'll throw you a little bit of a curveball. Can you guess what this is? If you said a lantana again, you would be correct. But this is a confetti lantana. And as you can see in the differences between this lantana and the previous one, it's spreading out a little differently. Okay, again, just because both are lantanas does not mean that they will always have the same requirements. So it's very important to do your research before you go planting these and before you go recommending them to customers. Anybody guess what this is? We affectionately call these in the Richland greenhouse the Jurassic Park plants, because they look like something straight out of Jurassic Park. But these are actually coleus. This is a Kong Empire mix coleus. Now, one thing I want to make note about these guys, as they begin to grow, they're going to start to put out a tiny stem with little bitty flowers on it. If you want this coleus to continue to grow and to continue to bush out, you need to prune that back and allow it to put all its effort towards growth. Coleus are a big seller in our greenhouse, and we've got some excellent different color varieties for our customers. The last in our pop quiz today is going to be this hanging basket displayed in this old chair. Can you guess what this is? If you guessed Thunbergia, you'd be right. Now, one thing that's a little different about this than other hanging baskets that we have in our greenhouse is it's kind of vine-like. It likes to find things to crawl on. So what you can do is, to maintain this, is you can simply weave it back through and keep it from going up the hanger if need be. They don't mind it being a little on the dry side. So that's good if you've got a place that's got a little extra sun. Now we're out here in the yard, and where we're close to, this plant is going to get a lot of sun at certain points in the day. Other days, especially deep into summer when all the leaves are on the trees, it's not going to get as much. So those are just some of the examples of things that we've got going on in the greenhouse today. I want you to continue to look back at those videos and those plant spotlights and really focus your energy on finding out what are the requirements behind those plants. Because if I'm not mistaken, right before we left, that's really where we were starting to head. You've got plants that are good in shade, you've got some that are good in full sun, and you've got some that are in between. Mess that up and you're going to waste a lot of money. Hope you guys have a good rest of the day, and we'll see you tomorrow.